So, hello and welcome to the third episode of the Cyclist Amateur Tactics, of the adventures or mishaps of two Hanan cycling amateurs who simply want to have some fun every month in a cycling race without any kind of resources or anything else and any kind of higher ambitions. And last time they had a absolutely miserable time in the Weisshorn Challenge. And the next race on the schedule is the Rising Sun Rush in Dallua. It's a classic and it's a long one, 423 nodes length. Not too difficult in terms of terrain. One small jump climb and a bigger one towards the end, and that's probably going to be the kicker. So let's find out how Maxim and Vladislav will fare here. So, as to be expected, as we probably should get used to, not among the favorites. And let's see whether we can beat the Automation Cycling team. We have a level 5 rider, flat and sprint, on level 3 with Maxim, and the rest are level 5 and above. So again, will be an interesting thing to see how long our two friends will last. So we're going to drop back at the start because there is some slipstream to have. And slipstream is probably the only thing that will keep us in the race till the end, due to our quite low levels of energy and the very long race. Well, taking a reasonable pace. Not sure whether I didn't go to the 9 before that. But let's go back even further. I could use rest mode, but I don't want to use rest mode because it should be, yeah, the whole amateur experience being in the race. And with the only tension being will they make it or won't they make it till the end. So, flat stage still going on, so not much is happening. We have 5 SKPs. Broke off early. And the peloton doesn't seem overly concerned, because that's a pretty conservative move. So they're actually starting to conserve energy, which suits us well. Five SKPs, so yeah, it's a reasonably sized group, I'd say. So it's not really a rush compared to the name of the race. I'm taking it pretty steady. Which suits us all the better. So I guess since it's an amateur race, we're probably all generally in not a too dissimilar boat compared to us. And they're probably all happy if they make it through. I don't think effects like heat are in the game yet, because I think this would probably be affected by intense heat and that have an effect on form. As you can see, there is not much around apart from the road. Once more, 0 energy. So I guess that's going to be the name of the game till, I don't know, halfway or something. Maybe after the first climb. That's not too long. That should be well jumpable. Ah, now they're pulling a bit harder. So we have to start actually using energy. And here we're landing. Landing is the key to jump across the climb in one move. And looks like the SKPs already split up, so we have 2 already across and 3 stuck on the climb. So Harold and Hugo, Cobble Expert 6 and Rouleur 4, so a bit of an interesting group there. And we're still way before the climb, so they actually have pulled quite a bit away, but they were also simply burning themselves out. Especially now that they split up, but I suspect they will be back together in no time. So second group made it across. While we're still... Ah, now they made a bigger jump to the bottom of the hill. So not everyone's happy with our breakaway at the front. Well, they still maintain a healthy distance from one another. And 3 didn't make it across. And we have to burn quite a bit of power to stay with the peloton. Not sure whether the shorter jump would have been actually better, but better safe than sorry. Let's see whether we'll be reunited with these 5 in no time. I'm not optimizing here everything with to the last drop of energy, although I maybe should. But they seem to be reasonably speedy in the peloton, so I don't envy those trying to catch up too much. Because now they probably have to burn their fair share of energy. Is the E3 someone trying to break away, or is the E3 someone we're actually starting to catch? Not sure. So what do we have here? 2 SKPs up front. 3 a bit further back, a 4th one here, and then the peloton and yeah, now everyone seems to be back in the peloton, but I'm not sure whether for better or for worse. Peloton taking things slow again, but we're with the SKP split up in essentially three groups, sometimes groups of 1. That shouldn't be too difficult to catch them. With this being a pure amateur race, I don't think many riders will be equipped to deal with these long distances riding on their own. And a very short jump once again. You're doing reasonably well in terms of energy after the first third, or a bit more than the first third probably. So not too worried, unless they decide to go all out. And probably not much going to happen before the final climb. And this time I might actually go to the front with whoever has the better energy state, so that I can be part of the pack. I'm not sure whether this is just dreaming at this point, or realistic. I'm not sure whether this makes it into the recording that well, but I didn't know that there were that many birds singing in the desert. Bit of an odd choice, but then again, I've never been in a desert, so I wouldn't know, but I suspect there aren't that many birds around. So this looks like a bit of a bigger jump, but of course that makes sense, because here now we're moving on from a 9 to an 11. Just one point, so they were just overly conservative before and even saved energy if they were pulling the peloton. SKPs have consolidated it, that there are 4 in one group, and that gets a bit close. How about the others? 1 at the front. I really admire that guy. Essentially one turn behind. And then one group we are probably going to run into pretty soon. Especially with this kind of pace. I expect they're making use of the minimal downhill here. Two lone escapees, third group. Yeah, peloton is gaining. And they're not even going out of breath to do that. Yeah, distance is getting closer, and at least for us at the back of the peloton, hardly expend any energy. Energy levels are reasonably fine, but of course they can always step on the gas and leave us in the dust. So that doesn't mean anything really. And the third group of SKPs caught officially. So we just have 2 lone riders at the front, and both on their own. to 2 lone wolves, and then the pack following. And it's impressive that they actually can still maintain the distance reasonably well without any kind of slipstream on these exposed flat roads. All of us, we are gaining to the second one, although it's still reasonably far away. And let me check what the distance is to the climb when we need to start moving to the front. So the climb starts at 40. So then probably around 85-ish. And that's still a bit away. Oh, the first one seems to be dropping back a little, and the peloton is gaining, so I guess they're going to be gobbled up soon. And we have someone dropping behind. Yeah, he's empty. Okay. So 85. So we're going to move one group ahead. Our energy levels 28, 29, so pretty similar. And I guess we can afford it. So the riders are dropping out. And now they're really riding. And the first one is probably now toast too. So we still have a bit more to go till the start of the climb, so that was a bit conservative on my end. Still have to get used to the usual distances. So this is probably going to be just a short jump, or are they actually going into the middle of the climb? It's probably worth a look. So, last SKP is caught, and I would expect a short jump to the beginning of the climb, and everyone's coming forward. Wow, that's insane. And we better out too. Although we're basically out of juice. But 17, 19. In worst case, we have to spend some attack points. Be just falling behind, and there won't be any kind of slipstream anyway, at least not for the jump. In the worst case, we can always fall back. Again, no, they're jumping right into the climb. And I'm honestly not sure about that. I mean, if they can jump towards the end, then that's probably fine. Good thing we have a choice. And also looking at our own energy. Oh, there we go. So we can do a 5-5 and then we are through. And that's a sensible thing to do. And both can follow. So that's what we should do. Stay with the main pack, and I'd rather drop back now than being stuck on the climb. And now we have a chance of slipstream again. It depends on how they pace themselves on the final approach, to use aviation language, and in probably Vladislav in a better shape than Maxim. So that's something to keep in mind when leveling Vladislav, so that he's more of the rouleur type with a bit more endurance. And I want him leading out. Can they make... No, I don't think... They can't make the jump to the 12, so I guess some would like to. And we actually can't. At least Vladislav can't. So we're going to be behind, but we can jump to the finish. So Vladislav suffers from low energy. Maxim should be... Yeah, Maxim can make the move and is out of power afterwards, but that doesn't matter too much. We have just enough energy. So 5-7 to gain 3. So that's something we do. And here are actually not that many left. So this doesn't cost anything. So we're going to do that. Let's see what this brings us. And Vladislav is sort of stuck behind. So then this doesn't really matter. Do I read this correctly? And this is going to be a top 5 finish. Or more. So we can jump 4, so they jump much further. So that's because that we're out of usable energy. We're basically completely out of major energy. So we're going here. And everyone else is passing. Well, is passing us, yes. And Vladislav also finishes. Yeah, this is a top 5. I wouldn't have expected that, so this slowish pace helped us, and the speed in the end saved us. So Maxim's speed really works in his favor. So that's certainly unexpected. And the last ones are still coming in, who got lost on the way and then probably had to grind over the last climb. That's probably similar to how we fared in the Bison challenge. Wow, they're still coming in, and it yeah, that's official. 5th place, and Vladislav still made 14th. That's not too bad. So how does this look in terms of prestige? Yes, 5th place gives 75 points. Sponsor doesn't really care, but we're already at 113 in prestige. So I wouldn't have expected this at all, just with starting out with one level 2 and one level 1 rider. But I'm certainly not complaining, because this seems to be, at least to an extent, viable. Okay, next month. So we have a level up, but first let's get the scouting out of the way. As usual, don't really care, do I? No, I don't. Wow, this is sort of terrible choice overall, but good thing we don't really care. Yeah. So we have a level up for Vladislav. So he gets actually his first specialization. We have one time trial list. So time trial means you lose in sprint and you don't get that many bonuses for anything else out of time trial. Maxim is terrible. Well, not really terrible, but not really spectacular in mountains. He makes up for his -1 in sprint with his speed. So I'm probably giving Vladislav going to be a flat rider, so simply for support and to an extent to compensate his low speed that he gets one extra point. More energy, more attack per turn. I think it's still more attack per turn because the speed difference is just insane. And we have actually a very nice attack pool with a 20, so we can have 3 full turns of attack, and then still have a bit left over. And in terms of energy, he's better off than Maxim and has a +1 and flat, so we don't need to touch that for the time being. And yeah, energy wasn't our problem. Our problem here in the end was that we simply couldn't follow speed-wise, and so 1 extra attack per turn plus the permanent +1 bonus in the flat should make a nice difference for Vladislav. So Maxim has now a friend who can pull a little bit better in the worst case. And you can see here that the flat sprint is actually reasonably okay, just still of course worse than Maxim's sprint. That's boosted by his 8+8 maximum speed. So that was a nice bonus. So what do we have next? Next we have the Wildau Rhone tour, and that's going to be a tour with 3 stages. Not too long. The second one is a bit longer than 2 reasonably short ones, so that sounds something for another episode. So yeah, I hope this was interesting, and let's see what happens in the next race.